You'd go completely asleep. I hope it won't be that boring. The text in Genesis 2:2-3. On the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all the work that he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because it was in it that he rested from all his work which God created and made. And I have another text that goes right along with this in Hebrews 4:9-10. There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God, for he has entered into his rest. He hath also ceased from his own works as God did from his. I have a statement here from F.B. Myers, who's a great commentary of the Bible, and I'd like to read that part right now. To all of us, Christ offers rest, not only in the other life only, but in this rest from the weight of sin, from care and worry, from the load of daily anxiety and foreboding, the rest that arrives from handing all worries over to Christ and receiving from Christ all we need. In Hebrews 4, we're directed to our risen Lord, who has finished the work of redemption and rest, just as God did when he pronounced creation to be very good. When we understand what he meant by "it is finished," we too shall rest. Have you ever been pushed into a corner that you seemingly couldn't get out of? Has your concern pushed you into a stressful moment, maybe a financial need that has no solution? Maybe your kids are making the wrong choices. Maybe you're tormented by your own failures. Just a whole bunch of babies. The other day I found myself confronted with a lot of things, a lot of maybes that I had absolutely no solution for. And it was on my mind constantly. It even wake me up in the middle of the night sometimes. And all this was churning over and over in my mind the other day, and the Lord said to me, this is something you can't fix, and if you don't let it go and trust me, you're going to make yourself sick. That kind of got my attention. There are times that we have to come to even a spiritual reset, not depending on our own strength, but instead bringing it all to Jesus. It's about saying, I'm not going to fix myself, but God is. I'm going to let him do it. Just relax. We spend so much time trying to do it ourselves. It's absolutely impossible, because there's no good thing in the flesh. There's nothing we can do to make ourselves good, but God can and God will. Rest is to cease from motion, to cease from action, to refrain from labor and work, to be free from anxiety or disturbance. It allows our body time to recover. It helps us prevent injuries and improves our overall health and performance. It aids in muscle repair. It reduces inflammation. It supports a healthy immune system. Rest helps to manage stress levels, lowers blood pressure. It contributes to a healthier heart. Why is rest so important? Getting enough rest on a regular basis helps our body to function. It reduces the levels of stress. Stress can affect your mental health and your physical health. There are a lot of famous quotes about health or rest, and I'll give you one or two of them. Rest is a sweet sauce of labor. Sleep is the golden chain that ties health and our bodies together. A man who values a good night's rest will not lie down with enmity in his heart if he can help it. There's an old hymn of the church that I've always loved, and it was based on the story of the time when the disciples were in the church in the boat with Jesus. Jesus was very tired, and he'd gone down to the bottom of the boat to sleep. And a great storm arose, and it looked like they were going to sink at any moment. And the words of the first verse of the song reflects the intense fear that they were feeling. The words are, Master, the tempest is raging, the billows are tossing high, the sky is o'ershadowed with blackness, no shelter or help is nigh. Carest thou not that we perish? How canst thou lie asleep, when each moment so madly is threatening a grave in the low, angry deep? And in the fury of the storm, they completely forgot the fact that Jesus was the master of the storm, the master of the wind and waves, and he was in the boat. And the chorus of the song gives reassurance, because it says, the winds and the waves shall obey thy will, peace be still. Whether the wrath of the storm-tossed sea or struggles or evil, whatever it be, no water can swallow the ship where lies the master of ocean and earth and skies. They all shall sweetly obey thy will. Peace, be still. Moses was on the backside of the desert all alone, tending sheep, and suddenly a bush in front of him began to burn, and he heard the voice of God saying to him, Moses, take the shoes from off your feet, for the ground on which you stand is holy. You know, we look for him a lot of times, look for God a lot of times in a world of sense, you know, something we can see, something we can feel or touch. While all the while he's been waiting for you to meet him in the inner chamber of your spirit. He said, I'll never leave you or forsake you. He's always there. Of course, I have to give you a quote from Streams of the Desert, because it's one of my favorite devotionals. And this was so good to me. It said, distinguish between the fact of God's presence and the motion of the fact. It's a happy thing when the soul seems desolate and deserted. If our faith can say, I see thee not, I feel thee not, but thou art certainly and graciously here where I am, as I am. You have to say that over and over. I feel it, even though I can't feel it, even though I can't see it, he's here where I am and as I am. And, you know, always remember, he loves me just exactly like I am. He loves me with an unconditional love, an everlasting love. Say it again and again, thou art here. Though the bush does not seem to burn with fire, the bush is burning. Now, why does God put such an emphasis on rest? Spiritual rest is a nourishment of the soul. God created it for our benefit. We can experience true rest when we spend time in God's presence, praying or reflecting on his word. He says, be still and know me. Make resting in God's promises a lifestyle. Remember what God has already done. Remember and acknowledge all the times that God was faithful before you. Like we talked this morning about how blessed we are. And, you know, if you really begin to reflect on the blessings that you have, they far outweigh the problems and the needs that you've had through your life. And he's been with you in the past, he's with you now, and he'll always be in the future. He's always there. Sometimes we may not have a good night of rest and sleep, and we know that rest is vital to our health and well-being, but it's also very important to your spiritual health. We can experience rest when we spend time in God's presence, praying or reflecting on his word. As we take time for our busy schedule, we can be still, silent, and present and allow him to work in us. Sometimes we get antsy when everything's still and quiet, and you have to really discipline yourself to do that. But that's human nature is always trying to do something in their own strength and leave God out of it. We're frustrated, we get frustrated by our mistakes and our failures, but when we lean on God, we can actually enter into his rest and enjoy our lives no matter what the circumstances may be. When I'm trying to believe, I haven't entered into God's rest, but when I do believe, I have complete rest in him. Living by faith, it's not a struggle, it's rest. And you can enter into God's rest in every area of your life. And resting in God means we give up worrying, we give up reasoning, we give up anxiety. We enter into his rest with a simple, childlike faith. We live by grace through faith. And right now, I want you to stay where you're seated and close your eyes, clear your mind and your soul and about everything that's going on right now. And as Sister Pennington used to say, shut out the world with its worries and cares and be shut in with God. And we're entered into the presence of God, into the presence of the Lord himself. Remember, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. The flock does not keep the shepherd keeps the flock. Keep your eyes closed, keep your mind on God, just shut everything out. Let God see your wants. You need nothing outside of him. He refreshes us when we're exhausted. He heals us when we're sick. He restores us from wandering. He leads us into right paths. Goodness and mercy follows us. He gives power to the faint, and to those that have no might, he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. They who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. His word says, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart on your bed and be still. Selah, stop and think about it. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him that prospereth in his way, because of the man that bringeth wicked devices to pass. Thus saith the Lord God, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest shall you be saved. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon me and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly of heart, and you shall find rest for your soul. My grace is sufficient for thee. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where there's a good way, and walk therein, and you shall find rest for your soul. The work of righteousness is to be peace, the effect of righteousness, quietness, and assurance forever. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in him will I trust. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Stay right where you are right now. Keep your eyes closed and your mind focused on him.